Have you ever tried or wanted to create a table or a scorecard like this in Power BI with a single column of values that may be a mix of both text and numbers, but got kind of stumped because you thought you could only add simple calculations to a table that are confined to maybe a single data type? Okay, well, this walkthrough is probably going to help you. So I'm going to recreate this scorecard quite quickly for an employee performance using the usual sort of Northwind traders data set, and it will be fully dynamic, so we can select different personnel and see how they're performing for the month, and then select also different months. We'll be able to select categories, assign them against targets, and see how we're performing against those targets. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, thanks for joining me. As always, I'm going to provide this data set, but this one's going to be slightly different to make this video maybe a little bit quicker than the previous ones. I'm going to provide a data set with all of the measures and the inbuilt table that we have here. If you look in the comments or in the description below, you'll see a link so that you can download that model. Okay, just to set the scenario here, I want to create a summary table, like a scorecard, that has a mix of some key metrics and stats for an employee at a company like Northwind's Data on a monthly basis. In this instance, I'm going to look at revenue, orders, products, and customers, and then look at a couple of key metrics below, like gross revenue, net revenue, number of orders, top product by revenue, top customer by revenue. In reality, these actual metrics are probably not that important. It's more about the process of how we create this. And just to kind of test everything, we're going to add some targets so that we can have some sort of conditional formatting on the targets, and also provide icons to see how we're performing. And what I want to do is to be able to mix, I want to show a mix of like currencies, straight numbers, percentages, and text values, and how we can show all of these inside a single table. And of course, to top it off, this isn't actually a custom visual. This is just your normal table in a Power BI native table visual. So you might be wondering, actually, how can we do this? Well, there's two kind of main heroes to this story, shall we call it. One is a structured Excel table that we can build, and we bring it in as a template, and that will encompass the category, the definition, and the target. And then to give us our values and our icon ratings, we're going to use a series of switch true functions to help us achieve that. Okay, I'm going to start off with the first one, which is building the template for the table itself. I'll show you something quickly here before I jump back into Excel, but this is kind of what we want to do. What you want to do is you want to structure the table. So you can either sketch it out on a piece of paper, but you might have an idea in your head about what you want. So you want to have a structure in terms of the categories. So you want to have your revenue at the top, and then underneath that, then the subcategories, whether it's gross revenue, discount, your order. So you want to have this ordered in your mind or on a piece of paper or on an Excel sheet about how you want to show this as a finished product. And then what you want to do is you want to have a row index to the side that has all of these each line items. So sequences from, it could be from 0 or from 1 up to whatever number it is you want to go down. So in theory, you could have a huge table that goes down to multiple rows. Okay, so this is actually in Excel. So in Excel, we can build our template. So what I've shown you there is, yes, you have a row index and just simply numbering it from 1 to whatever. If you have your category and you want your revenue in here, your gross revenue, this is simply, I've added just 5 spaces. So again, I would just go gross revenue, and that's basically it. So I've just added 5 spaces. It's as simple as that. It's not any more complex. You could probably use some of those empty space characters and things like that if you want, but you can use a space. So for revenue, I had no indentation. These ones, 5 spaces. When it came to product, I just had 5 spaces, and then for the subcategories, I would have a further 5, so 10 spaces. So it's just, that's how I built that there. Definition, again, simply just typing it in. When it came to the target, some of my items have targets. Again, these are just arbitrary. So for gross revenue, I've set a target of 5,000. You can set whatever you want. Again, discount, just set that we want to have maximum 5% discount. That's our target. And then our net revenue, same number of orders. Again, these are just arbitrary figures. They're not necessarily meaningful here. But the thing here, what you want to do when you bring this into Power BI, because these are all different number formats and you bring it in as a column, it might get a little bit confused as to what the number format is, or what the format is. So what you want to have these all as are text. So if it's $5,000, you type out $5,000 and you convert it to text. Same with 5%. Don't write 5%. You have to write it as a text. So convert it all to text and then type it in. So once you have that done and your table is structured, you can move on to the next one. So you can save it in whatever folder you store your model in. You just save it there. Okay, so I'm starting with a bit of a blank template here. What I've done is just dropped in the employee. Sorry. So I just dropped in the employee name, should be in our employee. Dropped in the employee name, and also then for the end of month from our date table, we have the employee, or the end of month. So just having two slicers there that I've sort of pre-populated. Again, this will be in the file that I provide. So as I mentioned previously, you can just bring this scorecard table in through your normal, bring in an Excel workbook. Again, it should be attached to the file that I've provided, so we don't need to do that here. Okay. So first step, we simply want to build our template table. So we go to the scorecard table. We bring in the row index first. You'll see it here. It has sum of row index. We don't want the sum, so we click on don't summarize. So it gives us the full list there. Then we want to bring in our category, and then definition, and then also the target. So if we just look at that as it is and we compare it to our Excel table, we're getting sort of the same results. So our first row index is revenue, and we get the subcategories, and we get orders, subcategories below it, products, subcategories, etc., down to customer. With a bit of formatting, then we can tidy this up. So for general formatting on a table, what I like to start with is moving to minimal, so to get rid of that sort of background and what we have there. And you'll have noticed that those indentations aren't showing automatically. So what we need to do there is go to values, and where we have text wrap, we turn that off, and we get the indentation showing. So that's the first step. Next, eventually I want to be able to hide this row index, but if I try to hide that, the minute it sort of does that, which isn't what I want. So to get rid of that, we go to column headers and we click off for text wrap, and it means then we can almost collapse that so we don't see that row index, so it's kind of hidden in the background. So this is getting a little bit closer to what we want to show. So the next thing is we need the measures for this. So I'm not going to write them all out, but I'm just going to briefly run through them so you can see them, and they're on the accompanying blog that I've created for this, or else as I go through these you can maybe pause and see how they're calculated. So I'll maybe just zoom in so people can see it. So gross revenue, again, it's just the unit price times the quantity. Then we want the discount. Where have I got the discount hidden here? That's not hidden, it's the average discount. So again, it's just average order discount. Net revenue, I think we've done this multiple times before. So it's the unit price times the quantity times 1 minus the discount. Orders, number of orders, just count rows and orders. Revenue per order, then it's just dividing that net order revenue by the number of orders. Top product is, yeah, it's the top product net revenue. So it's just the top N, so the top one, and then we take the values, which is the product name, and then we order that by the net order revenue. So it's just giving us the top product by net order revenue. And then we want to know the corresponding revenue amount. So we take the top product, which is a variable, top product net revenue, and then we calculate the net order revenue, and we filter the products by the top product name. So that gives us the corresponding top product revenue. And then if we want to know the percentage of the top product as a percentage of the total net revenue, again, these may be things that you want to know or not know. So the top product net revenue amount, that's that dollar figure, just simply divided by the overall net order revenue. So that'll give us a percentage, how many percent of this product is our total net revenue. And then for customer, I'm just doing almost exactly the same, just replacing the product with the customer. So top customer, company name, again, top customer as a variable, and then we do it by net order revenue. Who's the top? What's the dollar figure that we're getting from that top customer? And then again, the percentage that our net order revenue is that we're getting from that top customer. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, what I like to do is almost just as a validation, I would build another table down here just to show you how the calculations are working. So I bring in employee name, employee name, get rid of that, and then we go according to our. And what I want to do here is turn off the interaction. So I don't want this table being filtered by this slicer. So I just turn that off. So I get all of the people in here. I don't see that anymore. And what I want to bring in here is gross revenue, average discount. So this is almost like a check. So I can see that my scorecard is correct as I build it. Number of orders, revenue per order, top product revenue. Then we want the amount for that top product. We want the percentage. This is going to get pretty big, so I'll have to squeeze some of the columns where I can. And then customer is our top customer. How much are we getting from that customer? And finally, the percentage. So if you think about it here, if I look at Robert King, he's down here. I have the gross revenue, 6,000, 0% discount, net order revenue, etc. What I want to be able to show is a column next to this table that is basically listing all of these values, but in a single column. Unfortunately, with this type of table, you can't simply, pivot this type of table to give us this. You have to build a switch true calculation to do that. So again, in the interests of time, I'm not going to fully type this out, but I'm going to show you how to build this category value. So what we are using is a switch true function here. But first of all, what you want to do is we need a variable that is our selected item. And when we talk about our selected item, the selected value is the row index. Now the row index is this hidden column, so so you can see it here. So it's from 1 to 18. So what this calculation is doing is the selected value for the row index is a variable, and then what we want to return is a switch true. So this is almost like an if statement. So if it's true, then return something. So if the select item equals 2, now if I go back again, I don't want to, I'll just do this for the first one. So number 2, so row index 2 is gross revenue. So what I'm going to say here is if the row index equals 2, return the gross revenue. Again, I'll not do this for all of them, but just to give you an idea. So if it equals 2, gross revenue. But with a switch, what you have to do, if I didn't format this, it just returns a number, such as a straight number or text. There's no formatting on it, so it won't tell you dollars or percentages or anything like that. It'll just be a straight number. So if it's 2, I want to return the gross revenue, but I need to wrap the gross revenue in a format. So I say format the gross revenue, then comma, and then I want it in thousands of dollars or in dollars. So I'll get this type of dollars. There'll be no cents on it. It'll just be a dollar figure. If the row index is 3, again, I want the average discount. So it's going to return the average discount. It's going to format it as a percentage with 1 decimal point. Next one, net order revenue. Again, a dollar figure. Number of orders is just a number. Our rev per order is a dollar figure. So it's just going down, and you'll see there it goes 2, 3, 4, and then skips 5 and 6. We skip 5 and 6 because 5 is a blank row. 6 is just an orders, it's a header. So we're using this, that's why this row index is so important. You could use, instead of a row index, you can use like the full title of the category or the definition instead. But obviously row index is easier, it's just a single number. It's easier to write. So again, just going down so you get all that, where you're writing text, top product net revenue, just return text. And then what you need on the end is just this space. So where the select item is going to be 1, 5, 6, where there's blank rows, we just want to return a blank. So that's just what that is. So it's basically, you finished your if statement. If it doesn't satisfy any of these, what do you want to return? So you want to return just a blank, and we hit enter. So what we can do then is drop this in here. So you'll see Robert King, our category value is his gross revenue 6,000, 0%, 6,600, number of orders, RevPo. And again, that's why this table is good, because you can go and just see, are we getting the correct values in our table? It all seems to be lining up there if we look at those. And again, if I want to switch it to someone else, Nancy, again, 8,712, 8,712, that's all working for me here. Okay, so next we may want to then add in an icon to show, are we performing above or below our target, or is it just a neutral value? So again, using this sort of switch function. So again, our variable, we want to call it a variable, which is our row index, and switch true. What I've done here is just an upfront one. So selected item, if it's row number 1, if it's in 1, 5, 6, 9, 10, 14, 15, then just there's no icon. We don't want an icon at all. Then if it's, you see here, we've got 2 conditions for row 2 because we have a target value. So for if our row equals 2, which is gross revenue, and it equals gross revenue, or if it equals 2 and the gross revenue is greater than 5,000, we want this positive sort of semicircle. If it's less than 5,000, we want this negative semicircle. Not, you can use whatever icon you want. There's a quick and easy way to pull up icons. So if you hit Windows full stop, you get emojis and icons and things like that. If you go to this symbols, you can select these types of arrows, up or down arrows. So you could use an arrow up or down, Again, it's up to your preference. You could use these types of arrows, any type of sort of symbol that you think you want to use, you can return that here. For this, I'll just use these semicircles. So I have two conditions, greater than or less than $5,000. I get good or bad. For my discount, if it's less than 5%, it's good. If it's greater than 5%, it's bad. Net order revenue, 4,700, again, it's greater than equal, or it's good, bad. So you get what's happening here. We're just setting our target conditions and just simple sort of if statements or conditional statements. And where we don't have a target, I want to return this unichar 9724, which is just a simple sort of gray block. Okay, so if I drop that, if I drop the icon in here, so I get the icons returned. So if this is greater than 5,000, so I get that sort of positive semicircle. This is greater than 5%, so I'm not meeting my target, so it's the negative. So we're getting our icons returned in the correct way, and this is that unichar. It's a 9742. It's just a block, simple block. So we've got sort of the base table here. From here on in, it's simply a matter of formatting this table to our desired conditions. Okay, so maybe you want to color format some of these values and the icons themselves. So I've set up here a category value icon color format. So again, I switch true. If the category value is this positive icon, I want to return a green, sort of a deep green that I use. There's an extra one in here. So sometimes you might want like a traffic light. So you might want to add in an additional sort of condition in your calculations where, you know, if you're within a certain percentage of your target, you'll provide like an orange, you're almost hitting the target. So again, you know, if you wanted to provide that, you would just add in an extra step here, but I'm not actually using it here, but there's no harm in having it in the calculation. If it's less than the target value, I'm going to return a sort of a reddish type color, deep red. And if it's that unichar 9724, so that box, I just want a gray value. Okay, so to apply that, we just go to cell elements, apply to this. We want font color. We search in here CF, so you want that value. So it's giving us that green and red. We want to do it to our icon as well. Oops. So there you kind of have it, or we've formatted the color of the value itself, and then also of the icon. And if there's no associated target, then we have this sort of grayish color for the icon and the text. Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. So for the totals, I don't want to have the totals in the bottom, so I can turn them off here, and also close that so it starts to look a bit better. Okay, the next step I want to do is add in colors for sort of segment headers, so to speak. So I have a category header here. So again, this is where the importance of the row index. So that's why it's so important to have that row index here, because it lets you select the rows that you want to apply your calculations to, you apply color formatting to, everything in that. So it all comes from that row index. So that's why it's important to get it structured properly from the start before you even jump in to build it here. So selected item for a row index. So you don't necessarily need to be switch true. You could just use an if statement here, but it's easier for me to copy switch trues. So if the select item is in row 1, 6, 10, or 15, then provide that I've got this sort of a light blue color, and it's as simple as that. Unfortunately, there's no quick, simple step to apply this, which is a little bit annoying. So again, we have to go to cell elements, and we start at the start, and we're applying this color to the background. So we're going to field value, CF, category header. So we're going to get this kind of a light blue header, and you just have to go through each column, which is a little bit annoying, but that's life. That's the last one. Okay, and then we may then want, I think what I've done in the previous one was for the actual header. This doesn't necessarily need to be a color formatted. We just want to select a header color here. I'm going to use text white. I think that's all I wanted there. Okay, I think I just had a little bit of formatting to do. So what I wanted to do was, instead of having this category value icon, just rating, call it something else to make the table a little bit smaller, and then the category value. So what I wanted to do for this was to push it to the left, so the the value and the rating are sort of sitting side by side. Target maybe a little bit further away, and that in itself is pretty good. But if we want to add just a little bit more customization, I think previously I had a header, so it'll tell you who the person is, what the month is, and maybe a ranking value for their revenue for the month. Okay, I think I have done this previously. So it's just a couple of calculations here. One is for the rank. So the rank employee revenue, we just rank all employees by the net order revenue. That's just going to give me my rank. I can probably drop it in here. Hopefully it's going to show. Yeah. So that's basically what we want to show. Who's number 1 to 9. And then our title, title scorecard. I think if you've seen any of my other previous videos, you'll know that in order to add a title, that's going to be dynamic, the title needs to be in text format, so you need to write the calculation and sort of convert everything to sort of text and concatenate it. So this is just me saying what's the selected value for the end of the month. So this is the end of the month, and format that as the full month name and year. And then add in text scorecard 4, and then the employee name. So who's the selected employee, their name as text, and then and a little pipe, and then rank number, and then what's their rank number by revenue. So that's what this title scorecard is. And what I can just do is come in here, go to title, turn on. I go to title scorecard. And that gives me my title. So January 2015 scorecard for Nancy DeVolio, ranked number 5 by revenue. So if I go down here, Nancy DeVolio, she's ranked number 5. If I can find number 1, so Janet, I get my number 1 employee. Now you can apply some minor formatting to this. Maybe change the text color to a grayish. Maybe take this up to 10. We can add a divider in there. Divider color, make it nice. So that's basically it. We've created a scorecard. Actually, you might want to add in a border maybe some padding at the top. Again, this is all just preference. So you might want to have something like this where you have a bit of a scorecard that you can use. You can use this as a table for employee performance during the month. This could be on a dashboard that gets sent out to the employees. They could it could be even, you could have row level security, so they only get to see their own, and they can see how they're performing during the month and see where they're ranking and things like that. So each month you could send that to your employee. But as I say, this is more of a concept on how to create a structured scorecard. You could apply this to finance using profit and loss, this type of structure table. You could look at it in QA, QC, health and safety stats, KPIs, things like that, where you're having just these values. Sometimes executives, management, they're actually not interested in seeing, bar charts and line charts and things like that. Some people just want to see straight figures against targets, and if it's performing to the target or not to the target. So sometimes people just want to see a simple structured table like this that gives them all the information that they want in a single table. So hopefully this was of use to you. Let me know what applications you think you could use this for, because I'd be interested to know as well. Personally, I've used it for health and safety stats. As I said, this sort of walkthrough and all the steps and the calculations and everything is in my accompanying Medium article if you need to get a copy of the DAX calcs. As always, if you find this useful, give me a like. If you want to comment or give me some feedback, I always appreciate people who comment or give me some notes on what I could do in other scenarios. And if you want to see more of this type of stuff, if you hit a subscribe, you'll see my future videos coming up as well. Okay, thank you. Until next time.